Hey everyone, welcome back. We're going to continue our series of exploring the different prices of the various Git places that you can buy Git from. And today's video is going to be all about GitLab. Last week we covered GitHub, so make sure you go check that one out if you're interested in GitHub. But this one's all about GitLab. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and let's jump in. You like GitLab.
I like all.
You
all
like all. But okay, let me rephrase. GitLab swag bag.
oh well, it was a GitHub that had the best swag bag, but
Right. So what did GitLab give you then?
we actually got a pretty decent swag bag from GitLab when we first became partners. But GitLab, we became partners with GitLab. I want to say 2014, 2015, and they predated our relationship with GitHub by probably about 3 months. So,
And what does that mean? Like when you're partnering with them?
what does it mean? That probably has there's probably
Some
multiple
legal
ways
some
to
legal
answer.
implications?
Yeah. So for us, it means that we're providing solutions around the vendor's product.
Okay,
GitLab.
so somebody goes and gets one of these Git products and they need help setting it up or
Yeah,
configuring it or whatever.
configuring it, setting it up, migrating from another tool into this tool. Early in these partnerships, the majority of it is attracting new customers, getting net new customers to use their tools, which would include some sort of migration. We're in the early days we were migrating from what we call legacy tools, or what the industry calls legacy tools. It's not just us. Um, Things like ClearCase, PVCS, Perforce, all considered a legacy tool. The only one really seeing usage anymore is Perforce, but all CVS, Subversion, tools like that into these type of the newer tools. And you say newer, but most of these have been around for 10, 15 years now. So, so they're not really that new. But yeah, from the perspective of the vendor, they're looking for business partners to resell their product, and champions to promote their product. We feel that we fit into that niche, and the benefit that we get is we are a consulting company, and we hire consultants and staff consultants, and so it keeps us busy and
Yep.
helping our
And
customers.
and you help so with GitLab. So when we were looking at GitHub last month or
Mhm.
last week, there was obviously the cloud, which is what GitLab. Oh boy,
Yeah,
what
I told
GitHub is.
you.
Too many L's, one letter. Okay,
So before we jump a little further, how many times are we going to accidentally say GitLab?
GitLab.
Because I have said that in too many video conference meetings with customers that I lump them all together.
Lump them all together. Okay. So when we were reviewing GitHub, we were focused on the cloud, and there's a teeny tiny little mention about their on-premise version,
Mhm.
right? We looked at that enterprise server or whatever it was called. But when we're talking about GitLab, the story is almost in reverse, no?
It is, and it's they when you go on their web page, it does default to their SaaS version or their cloud version, but there's a big old tab, and why don't we share it now? Um, I'll add it there. Um, you can right up on the top, you can highlight the on-prem versus the cloud. I
Right.
think we were just hovering. There you go. And so this is more prominent than GitHub's pricing. You basically have your, and you also have your dedicated, which you just
This is
jumped.
starting to look a lot like Atlassian stuff.
I would say that GitLab predates Atlassian's dedicated by about a year.
Okay.
So and this is a pattern we find with all our vendors. They're all stealing from each other, um,
Borrowing. Borrowing.
selectively borrowing, and but what is it? Stealing is the biggest form of flattery, or how?
Apparently. Yeah, I was this so over the summer all the tech companies they have their annual build or annual, developer conferences.
Sure. Yeah.
Apple has their WWDC, Google has their IO, Facebook now moved it to October for Connect, but I think they had a llama thing earlier in the year.
Mhm.
and then Microsoft has their Build conference. And a common pattern, except for Apple, because I have no idea what the heck Apple's doing with respect to AI. Because
I don't follow
all,
AI. I mean,
yeah,
I don't.
Apple's entire 90-minute keynote was, "Look, we made shiny glass." I kid you not. Everybody else, they introduced three major products: X Studio, X Chat, X Agents.
Mhm. Yeah.
And Atlassian during their conference, they had Robo Chat, Robo Studio, and Robo Agent.
So which one did it first?
So let's see. So Atlassian's conference was in April, right?
Atlassian is the first one I recall,
Yeah,
but
Atlassian was the first one to lead the pack, at least to publicly come out and
yeah.
talk about their Studio, Chat, and agents. And then I guess Google came up next, then Microsoft. Then again, Apple's just talking about reflective glass.
Well, to bring it back to GitLab, uh, so I haven't heard this pattern fall out of GitLab yet, but it's very possible that it will because they have deconstructed Duo, and Duo is their AI offering,
Mm.
um, and uh, and that's if you switch over to the SaaS flavor of their pricing and scroll down, you can
There's
see
Duo.
yeah, you can see Duo, and Duo has multiple different offerings now. It used to be it was just Duo or nothing, but they have split it up, and they seem to have split it up just after Atlassian made Rovo free. Um, so for certain, and you can scroll up a little bit.
Oh, oh,
Actually, that's perfect right there. Um, you can see that the I don't know what you're doing now, but
I'm showing you a Duo. Do you want
uh,
me to go up?
no, that's fine. But you can see that certain versions, certain features of, of Duo are now free in certain tiers
Mm. Okay.
to kind of remind me of what Atlassian had done the month prior. So it's interesting that these, the vendors are chasing each other, and it leads me to believe that none of these companies have a solid AI plan, um, or
Just throwing things on a wall and see what sticks.
yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
think the entire industry is doing that. No, no, I'm not meaning to diss on a particular vendor. I think the entire AI industry is winging it.
Well,
And
it just evolves so quickly, right? Like something we learned
yes,
today might be different by Friday.
exactly. Or,
Yeah.
or one leader is no longer the leader next Friday. That these companies are leapfrogging each other in
Like
functionality. And
Apple, I was watching this thing where Apple came out with Siri in 2011.
uh
They had years, decades on top of everybody else to figure out AI.
Well,
And
I would go one worse on that. And I almost said one better. IBM. IBM
oh yeah,
won at
Watson.
Jeopardy. Yeah,
Yeah, Watson back in Jeopardy, and that was I
90s.
visited the Watson thing in 2009, and
Yeah,
Watson was already like being phased out back then.
exactly. Well, no, Watson's still a thing, and you can buy product from IBM right now based on Watson, but hardly anyone knows about it. I'm an IBM partner, and I barely know about it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
It's
visited IBM's Almedina, Alameda,
Alameda. Yeah.
Alameda facility, research facility back in 2009.
Mhm.
And then we're talking about Watson back then, like it was the greatest thing ever, right?
Oh yeah,
But that was
yeah, I remember all these use cases that they're coming up with, and talking to the different IBM partners on what Watson's going to be able to do, and those same use cases are echoed in all the modern AI tools today. And it's like, what happened, and why didn't IBM engage on this, or how come nothing got realized back 20 years ago when uh, when Watson was the king. Yeah, and
yeah,
then Siri built on that, and the same thing happened. It's like, okay, it was a great leap forward, and how come it didn't just continue to lead?
because Wall Street.
Yeah. Oh, so we're gonna drag our banker friends in on this
I
and
I
blame.
think so, right? Because like I was listening to this. I don't know if we've talked about this already, but did you hear that OpenAI hired Johnny Ives,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And Apple during their WWDC conference, one of the reporters asked him like, "What do you guys think about this whole like, an AI company just bought like the biggest, your chief designer that designed like all your most legacy products, right?" And
Mhm.
Apple was kind of like, both Craig and the other dude, Joss, were like, "We don't know what he's doing at OpenAI, like, nor do we care."
Mm.
And it was one of those things where it's like, that was such an
Yeah.
MBA answer of like not caring,
Yeah.
because Apple's not innovating in any way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I feared this, right? So as we're gonna compare these prices, I'm kind of in the back of my mind, I'm remembering what we talked about with GitHub,
Mhm.
because it's interesting to see which, at least when you start comparing the different tiers across the different vendors, which vendors are copying and which vendors are innovating or pushing the envelope.
Leading. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's start off with the free tier, right? So source code management and CI/CD. I don't even know why this is on here.
It's on here because GitHub and GitLab have both evolved way beyond a version control tool, and they have all of this different functionality in their platform. And you can see platform is the first menu item up on the top left, because GitLab does position itself as a complete platform.
Mm, right. Versus just being okay. That makes
Just
sense.
version control
Now
tool.
this is the first change, right? So this is the first big change that I see here, where on the GitHub side we had unlimited users.
Yes.
You were just limited to the functionality that you would get. And this one, you are, as soon as you go over 5 users or up, the moment you add your sixth player in your team, you're
You need
paying.
to go to premium,
Yeah.
and there's no middle ground. It's either free or premium. There's no standard like you'll see in upcoming when we talk about the third one
Yeah. Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah. So that's what it's exactly. So not to foreshadow too much, but yeah, this feels a little bit more Atlassian like,
Mhm.
right? Where we're putting a cap here. Now this is also interesting too, right? So I'm just gonna, because my
Yeah,
memory is not the best, GitHub pricing. Um,
and,
I
and
thought
and
this was,
after we finish with this series, we'll do a series that we just do this
yeah,
comparison.
compared to
Uh,
the three. So
yeah,
we're looking at 400 versus 2,000 minutes here. So
mhm,
that is a significantly much lower.
it is. Now,
Op-
if the one interesting thing you can do if you scroll up and move to the on-prem version, because I think we're on the cloud version.
yeah, we are.
Yeah, and you notice the difference. The
Ah,
only so you no longer have to worry about the number of users, and you basically can say that you know you're doing your own thing as
so
far as storage,
so as
and
long as you have your own infrastructure, you can use GitLab for free in a way.
yeah, it's just the SaaS version that limits you to five.
Wait, but then that's pretty
Very-
revolutionary. Or that's enticing for a business, right? Because if you're a company, I mean, you're gonna get out some. We'll take a look at these items in a minute, right? But
No, I actually I think it's an error with their website. I'm pretty sure that there is a minimum number on prem to use as well, and I believe it's five. But I thought that was interesting that it, it would seem to lead you to believe that you don't have licensed users at the free level.
it's still, but at the on premise though, you still have, as long as, but again, you're having a cost somewhere else, right? Because
Mhm.
to run all this stuff, now you need to worry about data backups, right? Because if one of your drives goes, there goes
Oh
all
yeah,
your
yeah,
data.
free on prem is not free. You still have to maintain it. You still have
Yeah,
to have an SA or multiple SAs. You may be running this on multiple servers. You may be federated. There's all sorts
yeah, you
of
got to worry about firewalls and hackers and patches, and yeah, so it's like it's more nightmare than it's worth. Okay, and then we got 10 gigabytes of storage versus 500 megabytes. So I guess they make up in minutes what they do in storage.
storage. Yeah, they got a better deal with the storage vendor, which I believe GitLab is back on GCP now, if I remember correctly.
That's interesting because you would think that then, Microsoft owning GitHub, they'd be like, you get a lot of storage.
Everything was on Azure or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. And then compute minutes. So you can buy for every 1,000, you can buy 10, and then $5 for every extra 10 gigabytes. So not too bad.
no, yeah, not
Okay.
bad.
So I think, again, we'll kind of save it for another episode, but just real quickly, apples to apples. It doesn't look like you get any project management. I think that's the only thing that's kind of missing, right? The ability to track tasks, if
Yeah.
you will.
So they have something called GitLab Issues, which is available and free, um, but it's extremely limited. It's basically just a ticketing based system, not very customizable at all. So
Mm.
you can't really compare it to Jira or anything like that.
Yeah, there's a project management. They have time tracking and wiki-based documentation.
Mhm.
But it doesn't look like they do issue to Epic Pro. What in the world is all this?
Yeah.
All right, so just expanding these things. They have secret detection, portfolio management. Okay, so
They-
a lot of missing things in the limited. Although,
yes.
what would this? They have guest users with limited access. Okay,
Mhm.
so that's the free version. So again, we have two companies now with free versions. I'm kind of leaning towards GitHub if I had to start right now on the free version, just because I feel like I get more.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
let's go take a look at paid because that's really where most of our audience is going to be at, right? I
Yeah.
think if you were a new company, like if you're just like a hobbyist and you're trying to get started, I'd start with all of them, try them all out.
I
But just
would too. And it also depends, like, where are you doing your software development? Are you doing it on prem or are you doing it in the cloud? If you're a
right
hobbyist, you're probably doing it in the cloud because it's just more cost effective. And there's so many different tools out there that you can use
now,
with
one
this.
one interesting thing that's not called out here, right, is free versus public repos. Are the Git if you're on the SaaS, are you public or private repos?
Your public can still usually start paying for stuff. Is it actually spelled out here somewhere?
Well, because at the very top it says that we have for individuals working on personal and open source contributions.
Mhm.
But on a personal project, I would
It's
assume you
supposed
don't
to be
want,
private, yeah. You would think.
but it's not explicitly stated. So that's an interesting one. That's something I would want to try out by actually, signing up
Mhm.
and seeing what they give us. But if GitLab SaaS is only public, then that for me would be the showstopper, and I'd go over to a different one.
Yeah, I
But
would.
again, not on their marketing material. So GitLab, you were watching. I've been known from time to time to make vendors change their websites to text and
Well,
copy.
the fun thing is if you become a GitLab partner, you have access to update certain things. I very much doubt that you can access and update their marketing, but but you could put in a GitLab issue to directly update
Oh,
something,
yeah.
and then someone will come along and update the
Yep.
page for you.
All right. Now, moving on to again the one that mostly everybody's going to be on. Again, if you're not looking for enterprise level services, it's premium, right? This is again, and you're forced into it the moment you have 6 players or more.
It's true.
Which even for a small business, 10 developers, you're going to probably be on the premium. So first off, $29 per user per month, and we're going to cross reference that with 4 or 21. So
Yeah,
in either case, it's still drastically more expensive already.
yeah,
So it's interesting. GitHub's most expensive tier is still cheaper than the premium version.
true. Yeah,
So when we're comparing this, we're not going to compare just against the team column, but rather both columns.
you kind of have to because of the price.
Yeah, because of the price. So we're checking not only for functionalities to the development environment, as we saw with GitHub, but the premium version, or I guess not premium, but their what did they call it? Why is this their enterprise
Yeah,
version had a
enterprise.
bunch of organization level cybersecurity type of things. We're looking for those kind of things at this $29 mark.
It would be very nice if all these vendors would name their tiers the same, because it is confusing. Because GitHub has a tier called Team, but Team makes me think of Atlassian. Um, so it's
Yeah, I
and
would have gone with
you get
premium
a premium and a premier and
Premiere Plus,
yeah, enterprise, ultimate, and
Enterprise Plus Plus.
yeah.
Okay, so for a lot more money,
Mhm.
we get AI chat in the IDE, understand unfamiliar code, improve. So it's basically Copilot.
Pretty much. Yeah, all the code suggestions is the
Yeah.
next one.
So we get code. So we basically get Copilot, which when we look at the GitHub side, we have all that early, even at the free tier. And so
Well, it's an add-on now, right? It's not built into the $4 a month. On GitHub, it's an add-on.
it is, but there is a free tier though of the Copilot.
True. So you can add on the free version.
Look at talking about mislabeling. Now they got Pro and Pro Plus.
Yeah. Why isn't it free team and enterprise? Yeah.
I know, right? All right, but yeah, so there's a $10 version, but still, even if you tack on $10 to $4, you're still 14. And
Mhm.
even if you tack it on to the 21, you're
Yeah,
still
you're still cheaper.
you're
Well,
still
you're very
you're like $2, $3 over, but still. All right, we got release control. So this defines seamless code review workflows, including just okay. So we saw this in both the team and the enterprise
yes.
versions of GitHub.
Yeah.
Team project management. So seamlessly run projects for granular issues. So this is the Jira like.
Yeah. So now you're starting getting into agile type controls and things like that.
Okay. SLA management, so automate incidents alerts. Okay, so this is now JSM
Yeah. You're getting
entering
some
JSM
JSM
territory.
functionality here. Yeah.
So that's interesting now, though, right? Because now again, there's no. I wish there was an apples to apples comparison, but
No, there's
when
not.
you're looking at JSM, right, you're paying for Bitbucket, you're paying for Jira, and then you're paying for JSM. And we'll look at Bitbucket next week. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a like. But you now have to buy a Jira license, which is like 17 bucks.
Mhm.
You need to buy a Bitbucket license, which is what, like another $4 or $5, something like that.
Something like that.
And then
Yeah.
you got to buy a $25 JSM license,
And then you most likely have to have Confluence.
right? Which is like another $12 there. So
Mhm.
all of that, you're kind of putting under a $29 bucket here. So now $29 starting to look like a steal,
Yeah.
especially if you're looking for a full picture like what Atlassian gives you.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. If you're comparing GitLab to all the Atlassian products that you need to make a GitLab, and then Atlassian doesn't have everything that comes in this tier.
Yeah, because
So
Bitbucket is like the child that nobody wants to update.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Um, it makes GitLab look very affordable when you when you compare it to GitHub, it's still not so affordable. Um,
Right, but GitHub is a little bit more fragmented out than at that point when we're talking about like full end-to-end support,
mhm.
right? Because I don't know that I saw any monitoring or the JSM like capabilities over here.
No, no.
We got wikis.
Yeah, GitHub is still more focused towards your software developer and making the development experience as pleasant as possible.
Hmm.
GitLab is focused on covering all the disciplines of a DevOps shop.
Right.
So SLAs make perfect sense, and incident management and stuff like that. Where GitHub, that's not necessarily their direction.
Yeah. So the only thing I'm not seeing here will be that wikis thing, but it looks like it is included
Oh, it's
in.
there. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
there's
it's there
GitLab
in the bottom,
pages.
but not on the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for 29 bucks, then you're saving a JSM, Bitbucket, Confluence, and Jira license all into one.
Yeah. In fact, I would say GitLab Pages is in the free version.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's exactly what it was showing here.
oh, it was showing it. Okay.
Yeah, where is it at? Yeah, wiki project documentation right here on the free.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Okay, well that's good. So we get so now again a little bit more expensive than GitHub, but you get less capability in GitHub now, especially when it comes to from a full DevOps lifecycle.
yeah.
And so I'm liking this. We get priority support, which okay, cool. Now we get 10,000 build minutes here or compute. So what's the difference between a build minute and a compute minute?
Not much.
Okay,
It's the same.
just
Um,
different word.
different words. Yeah.
Okay, so this is interesting then. So they're $4, 3,000, but it's not until you get to the big boy that you get at 50,000. And so these folks are going to give you something almost in the middle,
Yeah. Somewhere in
10,000.
the middle. And then when you go to the bottom of the page, you can buy additional. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
at $10.
$10 per thousand, I think it
Yeah,
said.
per every thousand. So I wonder then if this one is 5 times more expensive than this one.
The interesting thing is if you scroll up and compare this to GitLab's
Self-managed?
self-managed, the price doesn't change, but you have to provide all your own equipment to do the compute.
Yes, at that point you are paying the
It's
$29 for
unlimited.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that doesn't make sense. Like, if I was a business, then at that point, like,
yeah. The on-prem version should have a discount because it's bring your own server to work, right? So, release team, DevOps tool specialists. We provide professional services and software reselling around the leading software DevOps tools like Atlassian, GitLab, GitHub, JFrog, and others. To talk with us about DevOps, here's our contact information. Please call 866-887-0489 or via email at info@releaseteam.com.
Yeah, I mean, this should be more you because you're really just paying for the project management part of it at this point.
You're
You pay,
paying for the product, yeah, yeah. But
okay. And then last thing is unlimited licensed users, which this is kind of cool, but I mean, you're still paying $29 per user.
yeah, yeah, but you can just keep paying as many as you want, yeah,
Yeah.
which is nice. Yeah.
Which is interesting because Atlassian has limits there.
Not only does Alaska have limits, but they also have what do you want to call them? Tiered numbers. So you can't buy 102 licenses.
Yeah,
You
you got to
have to
buy the
buy
next
the
200.
next tier up, and so yeah, you go from 100 to 250. So if you had 103 people, yeah, you're paying for 250 licenses.
Yeah. Now I'm curious if GitHub had any limits to how many users you can add.
I don't believe so at the tier levels. Obviously, at the free, you have to jump up the team at one point.
No, it doesn't say how many are maxed out.
It might not be important for their marketing to point that out, but
Yeah, so they don't have an upper limit on how many users you can add in any of the tiers.
yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So we'll have to
Um,
take it at their word, and
yeah. Now I do want to kind of see what enterprise servers cost is real quick on the GitHub side
mhm.
because you get it for free over here, no?
The enterprise server, the on-prem.
Yeah. If you're on the enterprise, I thought we read somewhere that you get enterprise server.
No, I believe it's a call sales type situation. If you want the on-prem, the self-hosted, yeah.
I wonder how much that costs then.
I could find out, but it's clearly a call sales thing.
Hmm.
So one of these series, we'll need to invite one of my salespeople on as a guest, so they can actually shoot numbers out that I don't normally try to remember.
Okay. Yeah, I think that sounds good. Because I'd be curious for that. Because again, a lot of companies are going to be teeter tottering between premium or this. Let's talk to somebody.
Mhm. Yeah.
So just to kind of get to the last here, right? So we're gonna get these enterprise level items, like some of these enterprise level items,
Mhm.
but you don't have a price. So unlike GitHub and even with I think Bitbucket, I mean, we're gonna get into the Bitbucket next week, but I do think Atlassian is more transparent on their all three tiers of the licensing. Yeah, all three tiers have a price. So
Mhm.
GitLab is going to be the only one right here where it's like if you need every checkbox checked,
Mhm.
you got to contact sales.
And it is
But
quite a jump. Without giving an official price on our webcast here, our channel, it's a dramatic jump between the premium and ultimate.
now, is it worth it? Because you get application security testing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of the Sonar Cube stuff that we're talking about that GitHub gave you as well.
Your SaaS and DAS
Yeah.
stuff. You
We got
you have
supply chain security, protect against multiple, including code build dependencies. So this is obviously going to do, this is more of a CYA and it's cheaper to pay for it.
yeah,
But the question is, just because you have it doesn't mean you use it.
that's true. It could be shelfware for a lot of clients.
Yeah, we have vulnerability management because yeah, it's all in like the friendliness and usability of it. Like just because you're paying for it, not a lot of companies are gonna roll it out because you need skills to roll this stuff out,
Mhm.
right? And you're like, well, this is where I come in. Hire a release team. Link down in the bio or link down in the description.
Yeah, this is where we'll insert a commercial.
Yeah,
Um,
and then you get strategic portfolio management. So this one's interesting to me because not even Jira has strategic portfolio management.
yeah. So this is their attempt at adding some what do you want to call it? Safe, agile into
Mhm.
their platform.
We get value stream mapping. Oh, and then look, Dora, something that we've talked about in the past already. And then you get all the compliance and governance stuff.
No.
Then you get up to 50,000. Oh, and now you get unlimited guest
Yes.
users.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is interesting, right? Because now that last bit right there makes it super curious for me because as an organization, yeah, I got to pay for my developers, but then I have a lot of stakeholders and I might be working with other partners that need to see the repos in some capacity, right?
Hmm.
And if we come down here, they can view code.
Yeah. But not necessarily contribute. Yeah.
Yeah, so they can view the repository code, which is great. Um, but yeah, so the thing that I call out here, right, is when you're looking at these things, you you have to now consider the price of adding Sonar Cube, the price
Mhm.
of adding, other dependency management stuff, compliance things,
Yeah.
security things, right?
And these features replace those other products, so you don't have to continue paying for them or
Yeah.
purchase them.
And then
Or are they supplements to those
yeah.
systems?
But then you also I think a big tilt for me or tipping point for me is if I'm looking at the other tools like GitHub and Bitbucket, how many of my users are just viewing the code versus how many of them are actually contributing to the code? And if you're
Now
tipping,
I have to have full licensing. Yeah.
yeah, because that to me is like a huge cost saver, right? Because if you don't have to pay $21 for I don't know 100 users, right?
If
And
you
you
truly
only
only have like 30 developers, but you have 70 people that need to browse the code for some reason, uh,
right.
yeah.
So that's a big huge factor too. So yeah, again, the prices are not again apples to apples, but it's an interesting comparison because you're getting a lot more functionality that other tools that you would normally buy provide you, and you get a vertical integration.
Yeah. And you're getting them all in the GitLab platform. Uh,
Right.
so in theory, all these features are very well integrated. They're not seen as bolt-ons, um, or have clunky integrations between them.
Yeah,
They're
I
all,
mean vertical integration is always best, right? Like it feels like it's part of the product. You're not having to go and then like time as well, right? Because with some of these other tools, you gotta go configure your Sonar Cube. You gotta go configure your JFrog.
Mhm.
You gotta go configure a bunch of other stuff.
Well,
Then
that's a
you
good one to bring up. That's something the marketing people completely missed on this chart is GitLab packages, which is their binary repository, um, which is a big benefit of being in GitLab.
and you also get status page, which if it's yeah, so this is another add-on that if you're buying from the Atlassian site, you have to pay for status page
Yeah, not
independently.
quite the same feature slash product, but it's close. Yeah.
It's close enough. But yeah, no, like I
I
said,
would say the GitLab one is much more versatile than status page from
yeah.
Atlassian.
So my 2 cents to kind of wrap up this conversation is GitLab is great. It's a great alternative, right? If it's a little bit more expensive, but that vertical integration that you're getting, I think makes it worth it.
I
Because if you go with other tools, you got to buy a bunch of stuff a la carte.
Mhm. Yeah, there's very few add-ons that you'll need to complete your software stack after if you're going to go the GitLab path. Um,
Yeah, and more importantly, if
and we
these
didn't talk.
any of
Oh yeah, the
these
dedicated stuff. Yeah,
but yeah, but more importantly, like these two features are already available versus Bitbucket. I don't even think it's on Atlassian's roadmap yet for Bitbucket. It is for Jira,
yeah, yeah. Jira and Confluence are headed down the FedRAMP road. We don't hear anything about Bitbucket.
right? And then I didn't hear anything on the GitHub side either.
Hmm. Yeah.
So if you're a customer that's you need a dedicated or isolated, and then either the FedRAMP stuff, then the obvious answer becomes very obvious. I mean, you're gonna pay,
Hmm.
right? You're gonna pay, but you also then get this cohesive experience.
Yeah. Well, jump back to the pricing page again, real quick, and go down to the add-ons. We didn't necessarily talk about where were they? Yeah, right there.
Is it
Uh,
these little micro ones? Okay,
yeah.
Duo Pro.
So these are actually quite powerful, especially at the ultimate level. Yeah, did I explain them a little bit more down here?
So Duo, let's do Dual GitLab Dual Enterprise. So you
Yeah.
get summarization tools, vulnerability explanation, vulnerability resolution,
Yeah. Those are good. Yeah.
advanced chat, root cause analysis.
Mhm.
Yeah, these are really good.
Yeah. So this really competes with a Copilot quite a bit because Copilot doesn't necessarily have all those yet.
I
Um,
love this one.
oh, that's where I was headed with that, and you jumped ahead on
Oh
me.
man, I lost it. Here it is.
Yeah, the
So
enterprise agile planning, though this was targeted as the Jira killer. And I think it had the potential to be a Jira killer. I still think it does. The problem with it being a Jira killer is you have to be a GitLab customer because it's an add-on. You're not buying this
by
as a
itself.
standalone to replace Jira. But if you've already migrated away from Bitbucket, this here is a reasonable add-on to replace Jira.
Problem though,
Hmm.
um, is that and this kind of touches your first statement, right? This is a plugin
Yep.
add-on, so you need to have GitLab, which means you need to be invested in GitLab.
Yep.
Versus Jira today could care less about developers.
Yeah, and I think that's a double-edged sword. It's great if you're trying to sell Atlassian stock and try to expand the customer base and upsell a seat expansion of Jira licenses. It's not so. It's not the best strategy if you're trying to win over software developers. Software developers say you're leaving me behind. We
Yeah,
used to be software development centric. That's what I want my software development tool vendor to be. Um, all I hear about is how you can solve problems for the HR department.
and the
Um,
marketing and the legal.
yeah, exactly. Um,
Yeah, no,
so
this is kind of my when Atlassian first announced back in Team 24. I
mhm.
remember being in the audience when they announced that they were gonna let you rename epics. Like my first thought was, "Whoa, Atlassian just killed Agile," at least in their world,
Yeah,
right? And so this makes me happy that there's still companies that maybe believe in it. I've never personally used it, but I'd love to get a demo. Now, this is another thing, right? Like this stuff. Now, here's a bigger comparison. Again, I'm pro Atlassian, folks. In case you haven't noticed by now,
yeah.
is that I can't try all these things out without forking over, at least at minimum $45-$60 a month.
Well, you can, but you need to talk to sales or a partner. But both sales or partner or technical sales anyway can set you up with a sandbox to play with this
Okay,
stuff.
so the sandbox, yeah, because I was gonna say like,
But
what
if you
happens if
don't want to talk to somebody, you're right. You have to actually buy into it and start playing with it.
right? Which unlike the Atlassian side, everything is free, and you can get started with a lot of stuff for free.
Yeah.
You don't really again, spoilers for next week's episode, so make sure you hit that subscribe button now. But yeah, the functionality that you're getting as you move up the tiers in the Atlassian world, you can be pretty effective with their free stuff, or at least you could. I think that
Mhm.
narrative's kind of changing slowly over time as well.
Yeah.
But here, like with GitLab, I feel like you need to pay just to test it out. So when you're a new company,
Well, yeah. No, there's free trials for each
okay,
tier.
that's perfect. Yeah, because if I was a company, I need at least 100 days to kind of get my feet wet and try things
Yeah,
out.
and the bigger the company, the more time you'll probably
Right.
need. You know,
So,
to,
all right. Well, folks, that is the GitLab platform. We're being very particular in calling it a platform. We're very intentional in calling it a platform.
yes, this is the
Let
plan.
us know down below what you think. Which one are you using? Are you GitHub, GitLab? Did this convince you or sway you to go one way or another? Let us know down in that comment section down below.
Yeah,
Any
definitely.
parting comments, Shawn?
We're stay tuned for next week because next week we're going to be talking Bitbucket.
Yeah,
Uh,
and then we're gonna compare all three of them.
all three of
So
them.
yeah,
And then, yeah, we'll be talking about Atlassian, so it'll be interesting to see what we land on as the comparison. Because for GitHub and GitLab, we keep comparing it back
to
to
Atlassian
Atlassian.
because it's what I know the most. So
Right?
it'll be nice.
That's
All
fine.
right. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop a like, share this with your decision makers, right? If anybody in your company is trying to determine which is the right tool for them, make sure you share these videos with them. It helps. It helps, especially if you're maybe sometimes I've seen this type of responsibility be given off to like a low level employee,
Mhm.
maybe somebody that's not as seasoned or well groomed in all these technical jargons. And so I'm hoping these videos help you out by at least understanding what the differences in prices and features are.
Yeah, if you get saddled with having to do a bake off, hopefully these
Help
videos
you out.
helping are helping
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
And then shameless plug, release team, check them out.
Oh,
Link down in the description.
well, thank you.
Let them help you out with your problems here.
All right, and definitely if you're watching for lasting content, Alex has a great YouTube channel. All
All
right,
right. Bye, everyone.
bye.